So this past Thursday, we got a bunch of new information regarding EA Sports College Football 25, and in the days following, more information kept coming out. So we're going to go over more of that information, especially this 24/7 Sports article that came out that had a bunch of good info in it. I'm going to link it down below so y'all can read it for yourself, but we're going to be going over all this new information for College Football 25. So the first thing I want to touch on is head coaches, and I actually want to correct something I said in my last video. So as we know, head coaches will not be in the new video game, but what I said in the last video was that probably means we will still see their name, but we won't see like any pictures of them, or they won't be depicted in the game other than their actual name. But that is wrong. We will not even see their name. And I referenced NCAA 14 because I said that's how it was in NCAA 14. I said that you could see, like, it had their name. It would say Nick Saban, or it would say Kirby Smart, even though I guess he was a DC at the time, but it would say their name, but then you wouldn't actually see them in the game. I've clearly been playing CFB revamped far too long. I've been playing with the updated rosters far too long, because that then updates the coach's name. But in the original base NCAA 14 game, there were no coaches, not even their name. And so that's how it's also going to be in College Football 25. So that's kind of lame. I wish they would have the coaches in the game, obviously. I guess it's not a huge issue. Like, the teams are still going to play accurately to the way they do play in real life. Like I said in last video, Iowa's not going to run the air raid. They're going to, run the actual offense they run in real life, regardless of what the name of their coach is. And they did say maybe in the following years, like CFB 26 and 27, they'll end up adding head coaches. So we'll just have to see. But for College Football 25, there will be no head coaches, not even their name. So another topic we discussed last video was the rosters and the real players in the game and roster updates. So roster updates are expected throughout the life cycle of this game, which is awesome. That's really needed in a college football video game these days, because like in the past, in the older video games, like you didn't need to worry about it as much, because rosters didn't change too much. Players didn't transfer nearly as much. But now with, NIL and the transfer portal, players are constantly moving around. So according to Brandon Marcello of 24/7 Sports, like I said, in-season roster updates are expected. So that's great news. After the spring games, they're probably going to try to finalize these rosters for the game for the release. But then, like, what happens when a player transfers right before the season starts? Or, what happens when a player gets hurt and the backup gets elevated, or maybe a backup just ends up overtaking a starter, stuff like that. Those roster updates are going to be throughout the life cycle of this game, so it will reflect real life, just like Madden, just like 2K, just like all the other sports games. And in the older games, they didn't really do that, like I said, for one, because the rosters didn't change as much, but two, you couldn't reflect real life changes in the game, because that just added to the argument that, hey, you're basically just using real players in this video game, which ultimately we know EA was basically sued over that, and then the game ceased to exist for 11 years. But now, with real players, they can actually make those in-season roster updates that reflect real life. So like this past season, when Jordan Travis got hurt, and then they upgraded their backup to the starter, EA can go in and make that change in the actual game, and no problem, because these players opted into the game anyways, and they're getting paid to do so. So that is something I'm really looking forward to, and not even just the depth chart changes, but like, let's say a quarterback at the beginning of the year, it's kind of like a nobody, you've never heard of him, maybe he's a freshman, and then by midway point, he's like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Well, he might be like a 78 overall when the game comes out, but by the middle of the season, he needs to be like a 90 overall, right? So they can make that change, and we won't have to go in there and edit ourselves. Speaking of making changes ourselves, that is another topic I'm going to discuss real quick. So Brandon Marcello said in that same article that NIL players also can't be edited on the roster. So basically, the real-life players that opt into this game, we cannot edit them. Now, I'm hoping that means we can't edit their NIL. We can't edit their name, image, and likeness. So, like, for example, I can't go to Jalen Milroe and change his name. I can't change his height. I can't change his weight. I can't change, his bio. I can't change that information. But I'm hoping that still means I can change like his speed and his throwing power and accuracy and, all those in-game attributes, because if not, like that is super, super lame. I understand not being able to edit the real life stuff because they're trying to avoid any lawsuits again. So I understand if I can't edit, these players' names and bio. I understand if I can't edit their biography information, but I better be able to edit their game attributes because that has nothing to do with NIL. And quite frankly, I don't trust these guys at EA Sports to have accurate ratings. Like going back to Jalen Milroe, what if they give that dude like 82 speed? I mean, he's much faster than 82 speed. I want to bump it up. Like I should be able to do that. So we will have to see again. If it's just the biography information, that's completely acceptable. If it's literally everything, like they are untouchable, I think that is a big, big mistake. Now, one of the main things I wanted to talk about in this video is microtransactions, because Brandon Marcello said that microtransactions for this game are expected to be kept at a minimum. So that is literally one of the best things I've heard about this video game. So microtransactions are just in-game purchases by players. So like a good example that a company that does that really well is Epic Games with Fortnite. So they obviously have the item shop and you can go in there and buy skins for your player. That's a really good example, really popular example there. But EA does the same thing for like Ultimate Team and Madden. So if you haven't played that before, basically you just assemble a team of Madden players, of NFL players, and they are from all eras, so current players and then also old players. So you can have like current Jamar Chase at wide receiver, but your quarterback is Peyton Manning, right? But you assemble this team by collecting cards, and you like open card packs and see who you get to be on your team, and they have different ratings and different attributes and different things like that. So you have to buy these card packs though. So you can spend a ton of money trying to get the best players in the game. So they have become very controversial because one, they're low-key pay to win. And then two, the bigger problem, especially in Madden, EA has put all of their effort into that because they see how much money they're making. It's the same thing in FIFA. Like they make so much money off these microtransactions in Ultimate Team. It's where all of their effort and time goes. And so the worry for College Football 25 that we know has an Ultimate Team mode with College Football Legends is that the same thing will happen. They'll put all of their focus on Ultimate Team because they know these microtransactions aren't going to roll in millions of dollars for the company. And not all microtransactions are bad. Like they're not inherently bad. Back in the day, like in NCAA 14, another microtransaction they had was uniform packs. You had to pay for those to get more uniforms for your team. And hopefully in the new game, they're just free, so you don't have to worry about paying for them. Like hopefully it's just free DLC. But at least that wasn't like a controversial issue. It's kind of the same thing as buying a skin in Fortnite. Like you just bought more uniforms for your team. It was completely a cosmetic thing. It wasn't pay to win, and it wasn't where they put all of their focus. But like I said, now they make so much money in Ultimate Team doing that, that's where all their focus goes. So hearing that microtransactions will be kept at a minimum is very, very good news. But going along with that, I really don't like the rest of the statement because it says that microtransactions will be kept at a minimum as EA Sports attempts to make the long-awaited return of the game as welcoming as possible to casual gamers in its first year. Now that sounds good, but to me it kind of sounds like, hey, this is the first time we're releasing this game in 11 years. We're going to make it seem like, there's no microtransactions. It's super friendly and welcoming. Everybody buys the game. And then in CFB 26, that's where all the microtransactions are. CFB 27, that's where they all are. And the problem with that is year after year, they just put all their focus into that ultimate team and microtransaction. And then by CFB 27, 28, the game just completely sucks. That's basically what has happened with Madden. Madden used to be fun. Madden used to be great. I used to get it just like I got NCAA football. But now I don't buy Madden because Madden blows. And part of the reason is because of Ultimate Team and microtransactions. Actually, that's probably the main reason. So if that same thing happens with college football, it will ruin the game. So hopefully microtransactions are kept at a minimum, not just in College Football 25, but also 26, 27, 28. So another amazing thing that Brandon Marcello wrote in this article is that he'd start talking about the difference between NCAA football and Madden, and he says that What separated the NCAA football and Madden franchises was the almost romantic focus on the pageantry of college football traditions, and that will continue in the college football franchise. So that is awesome news. I love reading that. I love hearing that. It's kind of vague, so we'll have to see if it actually pans out in the game. But basically he's saying like college football and the NFL are very different, and the reason that even the video game series were different back in the day is because the NCAA football series had an almost romantic focus on the pageantry of college football traditions. And so like we all know about college football and the traditions and the atmospheres and the love for the game, and it feels like the NFL kind of lacks those things. And so it's just, if you can capture that in the video game, it'll make it so memorable and fun playing it because it'll actually feel like real life college football. So again, it's kind of vague. Let's hope EA Sports can actually tap into that in specific, tangible ways that we can see in the game. But again, it's a great statement. So lastly, just want to touch on the price of this game. As expected, it is a $70 value, meaning it's going to be $69.99. As inflation hits and things, games are no longer $40 and $50. They are now $70. And actually at local GameStops, you may be able to go into the store and pre-order, still not online, but call your local GameStop, see if they are doing that, and if they are, you can head into the store and go ahead and pre-order the game. So that'll be everything for this video. Again, I'm going to have more videos coming out probably this week and next week. I mean, just a ton to talk about this game, and we keep getting more information, so that is great. Follow me on Instagram, bring NCAA back, and subscribe to this channel to continue to stay updated on the game.